what's the drive to keep going? It's your first time experience boxing and you lost. Why continue in that? And seeing your nephew go through that and then experiencing yourself.
When you're cutting weight and you feel like crap and you see your coaches or the guys that just fought come into the gym, like, that's inspiring, that's motivating, like, it lights a fire under your butt, like, let's go, let's go.
If I asked your wife, who is Mo? And I asked her to go deeper than surface level stuff, so we know, like, you're a father, you're an accountant, you're a fighter. If I asked her, though, like, underneath surface level, who is he? What do you think she would say?
So boxing was always around. My dad used to get into a lot of street fights, and he was just like, I want you guys to know how to defend yourself. So me and two other sisters were kind of thrown with the wolves in boxing. Just step on the scale and we would have fought him at whatever weight class. It's not even about the money. It's about being a man and being someone of your word. So what a coward.
Howdy, everyone, and welcome back to another episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back, a podcast where my guests and I tell our personal stories with the hope that by the end of the episode, that internal fire in your gut feels like it's burning a little bit brighter. I'm grateful you're here because over 90% of my guests have never taken a guest spot on a podcast before, so I'm building a collection of stories for you that can't be heard or watched anywhere else. This morning joining me is Mo, aka Bowdown, and he is a Mexican-American mixed martial artist from Indio, California. Despite some challenges growing up, Mo's parents helped him remain strong in his faith, and after becoming a young father, Mo matured quickly by balancing work, school, and parenting. Determined to build a future for his new family, Mo earned an accounting degree from Cal State Fullerton before fully committing to his passion for MMA. Mo, thank you for who you are. Thank you for being here, and welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. How do you feel this morning?
Good. Had coffee.
Yeah, yes, and having more.
Yeah.
Mo, what do you think your superpower is? After thinking about like background in accounting, young father, a fighter, what is your special sauce that you feel you bring to the table with you?
Community, man. Just getting people together and building friendships and just having everyone come together. You want to be stuck on an island alone, or do you want to be or share your bread with someone on an island and have a happier life? So.
Yeah, I usually stay away from politics, but one thing I'll just say real quick is that I feel like during the pandemic, almost worse than the virus, was that we were all stuck in our house. And one thing that was sort of encouraging was I found this hiking path. I was still in California at the time, in Sacramento. And this hiking path, I went on it maybe once a week. And I started just walking this path every day and just listening to podcasts because there is nothing else to do. I was laid off. I was stuck at home. And this path just blew up. And there were friends walking on it. There were people having dates on this path. There were families. I was like, this is great. This is what we need, is to get outside and to be together. This is the healthiest thing we could be doing right now.
Definitely. I agree. It kind of... it kind of split two ways, I think, because a lot of the kids or people growing up that were in school couldn't really hang out anymore, and I saw how that affected a lot of the youth, where they were having meetings on what would it be, like I guess Teams and like other stuff for school, and they were trying to like figure all that stuff out, but then they couldn't hang out in person. But then everyone's like on social media platforms. So I know for a time it got kind of funky with like social skills, and I feel like that's still kind of developing or having an effect on a lot of high school students or people or kids that actually were in that era of like the whole COVID thing. But at the same time, like those who seeked to get out of the house and stuff, like they did build a better community. Like when we came out here to Texas, I remember everything was shut down, all the gyms, and everyone's like, where do we train? Where do we fight? Like, this is so weird. And then when I came to Texas, 10th Planet Austin was like one of the only facilities I was like still
Good for
getting
them.
everyone together, and that opened doors for everyone. It was pretty crazy because a bunch of gyms were like sliding through, and it was like almost like a speakeasy kind of type deal where it was
Yes.
like, hey, this is where it's at. Knock on the door, and a bunch of people doing jujitsu or like MMA and stuff. So that was really cool during like the whole COVID era, and then you just met other people from other gyms, and like I said, that community building. And then once everything started opening, and I was like, oh, I'm cool with these guys, I'm cool with these guys, like kind of opened a lot of doors. So I think it was just the way you played off of it for sure.
Yeah. How old was oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm
Oh,
Phineas?
Phineas?
Yeah, okay, I did get it. I was like, is it
Yeah.
Phineas? How old is Phineas now?
He's 9.
So he would have been about 3, 4 when the
Yeah.
pandemic. So was he even in preschool yet or not? When do you start preschool generally?
Yeah, he was in preschool already. I think he started first grade when he moved out here.
So were they doing first grade over Zoom, or did you find a school that he was able to attend in person?
We found a school right away that he was able to attend in person.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Learning's hard enough. Could you imagine being
Yeah.
5 years old and trying to do first grade on a laptop? That's insane.
It is. And our older son Achilles actually did when his first year he came out here. He had to do it online, and he was just like, they're over here asking for roll call, and you could just see his Skype video, and he's just dead pass out during attendance, and he's just like, and I'm like, wake up, and then he's like,
You're giving him coffee.
he's like, here, like, why are you raising your hand, dude? You're like, you're not even in person. So yeah, it was a trip for sure.
I forget if I told you, but I'm still doing recruiting for an accounting firm, and I interview people all over the U.S. And for some reason, I feel the need every time I start a call to raise my stupid hand and be like, "Hello,"
Like, present here.
I'm just trying to connect with these people. I don't know how else to do it, so
Yeah.
I just give everyone a friendly hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they don't think I'm crazy, but
Yeah.
anyways, Mo, who do you think knows you better than anyone else on your planet?
My wife.
Your wife?
Yeah.
If I asked your wife, who is Mo? And I asked her to go deeper than surface level stuff, so we know, like, you're a father, you're an accountant, you're a fighter. If I asked her the, like, underneath surface level, who is he? What do you think she would say?
I don't know. I'm like, I almost feel like calling her right now. Like, who am I? Yeah.
If you had to guess, best guess, what do you think she would say?
Loving. I think we talked about it the other day, and like, I think we, as family, or as like deeper connection, like, it's one thing to tell you I love you, but I in my family and to my kids, my wife, I want to get to like a deeper note. So when I tell my wife I love you, like, hey, not only do I love you, I'm in love with you. So like, I want that intimate connection. When I tell my kids, like, hey, I love you, it's like, know why I love you, like, I have so much feelings, and I care so much about you. I just want you to know I love you, and have a great day at school. So that getting that deep connection past the surface, that means so much to me. And not just to my friends or my kids, my wife, like my teammates, like everyone know, like, hey, I have a strong connection for you, my tribe, and everyone, like, just know I'm more of a man to tell you I love you, and you're my friend, and there's so much deeper connection there than just on the surface. So love means a lot, and having that faith, and having that macho or machismo to, like, hey, we're all men, and we all have this ego, but it's okay to put the ego down and say, hey, I'm a bigger person by telling you this, versus like hiding away or acting like it's not real. So
Yeah, I think maybe it's just the circle of people that I happen to run around with, but we tell each other that all the time. And I think it's important to express that, because whether you're a man, a woman, young, old,
Yeah.
we all want to be liked.
Yeah.
And even deeper than that, we all want to know people enjoy our company.
Yeah.
And if we never say it, maybe not we might know through actions. Like if you and me hang out once a week, I can probably inherently just know Mo enjoys my company.
Yeah.
If he didn't, we wouldn't hang out every Friday night.
For sure.
But also just saying it sometimes, like when my buddies say it to me, dude, I feel on top of the world.
Right,
Like,
right.
this is great.
You're like, oh, yes, dude, I feel it. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, heck yeah, dude. And sometimes I feel like we just need to hear it. Like, just actions could only do so much. Like, just like your parents, they love you, but every now and then it doesn't hurt to say, hey, son, I love you. Oh, thanks, Dad. Like, that feels really good. So, yeah.
I have a picture. I think this is you. I did a deep dive into your Instagram the other day. And one thing I always look for is I try to find a few pictures from your past just to help jog some memories as we kick this conversation off. Is this you by chance?
Yeah.
Little Mo, there he is.
Dude, it was a fighter since day one, man. Dragon Ball Z shirt. Bruce Lee on the the Hollywood Walk of Fame, man. That was like, those are my heroes growing up.
Is this in Los Angeles? Yeah, this is Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Is Indio near Hollywood or?
No, it's like maybe like 3 hours away. But when I was younger, we'd go a lot to L.A. My family was we're first gen, but my dad was in L.A. He was in Compton, he was in Rialto, Inglewood. But we'd go out there a lot to San Pedro for the seafood, to the callejones, to like Santielli to go shopping and stuff.
Yes.
Get the Dodger dog, the street dogs. Like, I used to love going out to LA, go to like either the Dodger games or like I'm a huge LA fanatic when I was out there. So it was really cool just going over there for the weekend, or just going to Orange County to Knott's Berry Farm or Disneyland, all the theme parks. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah, but it definitely wasn't around the corner, but definitely a day trip just to go out there and have some fun.
Heck yeah. Are you a nicotine guy by chance?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not.
I will not offer you one then.
Oh, thank you.
It helps me focus, but
For sure.
when you have, if I did my research right, I think you have one brother and one sister. Is it 3 siblings?
Oh.
Or am I nuts over here?
I have 3 older sisters, 1 younger brother. I had another little brother that passed away to stillbirth, and then so three older sisters, and then 1 younger brother, then 1 stillbirth.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's life.
Decent sized family though. 5 siblings. Were you and your 3 sisters pretty close growing up, or what was sort of the dynamics, if you can remember, like as far back as you can, what was growing up in Mo's household like?
It was good. It was split. My parents divorced when I was pretty young, but as far as like I was the youngest, I was the only boy. Like my sisters kind of like catered to me, and they were the older ones, so I kind of saw some of them in the house, some of them out of the house. They all have like a 5 to 10 year kind of age gap between me, so sometimes one was out of the house, sometimes one was in, sometimes one was out, and the other one was back in, so it just all depended. But when I grew up with my dad more than when they had that initial split. It was they pretty much sat me down and said, hey, do you want to go with your mom or your dad? And I chose my dad, and I grew up with him till I was like 18. And then at that point in time, I was in Indio, kind of Palm Springs area. And then I went to go do college in Orange County and San Diego. And that's where 18 and up, I kind of spent it with my mom. And then once I had my own little family post college, that's where we migrated to Texas and started our kind of own family out here.
How do you remember how old you were when you had to make that decision with which parent you wanted to live with?
Yeah, I was 7.
How does a 7-year-old make that decision? Do you remember?
Yeah, who I spent more time with. and I spent a lot of time with my dad.
Why'd you spend more time with your dad?
He was just always around for most of the time. Yeah, yeah, we just did everything together. So, my mom was, she. It's not that she wasn't in the picture.
Sure.
It was just like, I just hung out with my dad, but they owned a barber shop and they were together, so I was just there with them both all the time. But then, when my dad would say that at work, I'd help him. I'd sweep, I'd, be the cashier,
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
the phone, just kind of picked up those like work tendencies without trying. And I just remember like people would be like, who's answering the phone, and I'm over here like 5 or 6 years old, like easy haircuts. And they're like, am I calling the right establishment? Like, yeah. And my dad's like,
You're like, yeah, I'm
give
the
me
manager.
phone. Yeah, right. So they would trip out when they'd hear a little kid answer the phone, but that's just how it is growing up in the 90s, like you just did everything in a mom and pop, and it was really cool. But once they split, it was kind of funny because I didn't think about it at the time, but when my parents got divorced, my dad opened up a barber shop right across the street. So he's competing with my mom. So they're over here cutting hair. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't think anything of it. But eventually, my dad took over, and then my mom kind of moved out of the area to figure out her own life and stuff. So yeah, my dad was at continue to cut hair in that same kind of area while I grew up. So
Now, were they even technically competitors? Like, was your mom sort of catering to female clients? Your dad was sort of doing more barbering, or were they like direct competitors with each other?
direct competitors, 100%. Yeah, they were just like clashing heads, dude, and it was so weird. I'll be like, I'm gonna go to my dad's real quick across the street, get a
Yeah.
little snack, and then I'll be right back. So it was super a weird dynamic, just kind of going across the street like, okay, I'll be right back, mom, I'm gonna go to dad's real quick.
And then customers are calling both shops, the same kid's picking up, they're confused. They're like, what's
Yeah,
going on here?
yeah, what is going on? Or it's that 80-20 principle where they're like, where's Jose? Like, oh, he's across the street now. Like, okay, they'll just go with them. And then eventually it just made my mom fold, and she had to close down that barber shop. And then it's funny because my whole family got their cosmetology license except me. Like,
Your
everyone
sisters, your brother, everyone?
brother-in-laws, sisters, like they could all cut hair, they could all do the cosmetology stuff. I was the only one who just didn't want to. I was like, no, that's kind of not for me. Like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. I just kind of wanted to do my own thing, but I don't think it would have hurt, man.
Yeah, no.
You make good
More
money
skills,
doing
the
that.
better,
Yeah.
maybe. We had this joke growing up where, well, it wasn't really a joke. I didn't like it at all, but I have four siblings, and they're all blonde, and I was the only brown-haired kid. So they made fun of me that I was secretly adopted, and then the joke sort of went away. It got boring. They made it so much, and so it went away for about 10 years. And then when I was 24 or 25, I started balding. And all my siblings, their hair is just thriving. And so then the joke came back. They were like, "We knew it. You're adopted." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't know why I'm balding. It is what it is."
The milkman's baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
When you were a kid, did your parents ever have you go to do any like jujitsu or karate? Like, when did you officially start doing some boxing?
Boxing at 7.
7 years old. Did you
Yeah.
want to, or did your dad sort of force you into it?
He kind of forced us, but it was kind of always around. He was the guy where it was like that HBO pay-per-view where everyone would get together, get the pay-per-view, you'd buy the round, see if you'd win, if someone got knocked out or won during a certain round, you'd get the whole house like earning from the little raffle tickets. So boxing was always around. My dad used to get into a lot of street fights, and he was just like, I want you guys to know how to defend yourself. So me and 2 other sisters were kind of thrown with the wolves in boxing, and it was pretty cool because back in the day, our old boxing coach, the rule was you go live rounds. You go when you get there. Let's see what you're made of. You'd go with someone that knows how to fight, and if you don't cry and you knuckle up, take a beating, okay, you could get into the boxing program. If not, if you start crying, it's not for you. You can't come back, and
Hmm.
that's just how it was. And me and my sisters passed the test. I took a beating, but I was like, wow, this was pretty cool. Let's
Yeah.
just keep going. So boxing was my first official sport, and then yeah, my sister went pretty far with it. My other sister just kind of steered away, but yeah, I did it for a little while, and then it kind of conflicted with school. So I kind of took the gas pedal off of boxing and started focusing more on school. And then I didn't pick it up again until like college. But I was always watching the UFC. I was always watching boxing. Like Mexican and boxing heritage is just like goes hand in hand. Like that's just one of the things growing up where if it wasn't for MMA and that transition to that sport, like boxing was like the MMA or the UFC of back in the day,
Yeah.
the HBO Jim Lampley and like all of the pay-per-view stuff. It was pretty cool, like the famous boxers of back in the day. So, yeah.
Did that coach when you first started and he was sort of putting you through his test of sorts, did he intentionally pair you up with someone more advanced than you so you'd almost lose your first fight, and if you lost without crying, as you said?
Oh yeah, you were there for a beating. He literally put someone to like kick your ass, dude. Like that's just what it was. Like you have to lose in order to submit and be like, what are you made of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely like I got out of there like got dropped a few times and it's like get up, keep fighting. And that's just and it's funny because my sister has a son that he wanted to do boxing and she found him a few months ago and he put him through the same test.
How'd he do? Your
He
nephew.
got beat up, but he went back for more. He went back for more and he did the same test that was probably over Jesus like 25 years ago. Like, hey, if you're gonna be in this boxing gym, you gotta see if you could hold your own. So he put him with some guys that knew what they were doing, and yeah, he fought him, and yeah, he did somewhat decent. So he stayed in that program, and I think he goes every now and then. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So I feel like in life, usually we gravitate towards things we win at, right? Like when I did my first episode of the podcast, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my thing. So I'm going to
Mm.
keep going. And seeing your nephew go through that and then experiencing yourself, what what's the drive to keep going? Like you're it's your first time experience boxing and you lost. Why continue in that? Do you know what kind of mindset you were in, or your nephew was in, or any fighter where here's this thing you lost at, but I'm going to try again? What's that stem from?
Preparation. You know that if you would have been prepared, you could have taken that guy.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, if I learn a little bit, if I kind of clean up around the edges, I know I could take that guy. So let's give it a run and let's run it back maybe 2 3 months from now, and let's see if the coin falls on the same side again.
Okay. Heck yeah.
Uh,
What was your high school experience like?
it was wild.
Not a lot of people say that. I have a lot of people who are just like, it was normal. What made it wild for you?
um, Fighting, getting into trouble, passing classes, just like balancing, having a child in high school, getting a job in high school, getting into fights, passing my grades, like a little, like I said, a little balance of everything. I was able to survive and go to college after. I didn't think of going to college after. Honestly, I was getting ready to do like a power line mechanic program through
Hmm.
Edison. So I was like, okay, I don't need college. Like they pay you pretty decent for Edison. Like I don't need to do that. And then the opportunity was seized when they started doing like smart meter techs where you could get your foot in the door as a groundman or a power line mechanic. So I was like, darn, like what am I supposed to do now? And then there was an opportunity to be a like a nuclear radiation specialist through San Onofre. And I was like, oh, if I just applied through it, I could get a scholarship and see maybe I could make it into the program. So I did, and I got in. So I was like, sweet. So I had my first 2 years of college kind of like backed up. So I'm sorry, I'm getting like cotton mouth.
No, you're
Um,
good. And there's a couple waters down there too if you want something other than coffee.
I do love a good cup of coffee. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So yeah, I applied for that scholarship. I studied like a mule, and I was able to get in. So I was going to class in Oceanside to Maricosta College, my first year of college, to do a radiation program in San Onofre for the Songs Nuclear Center. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Taking classes, I felt like the ultimate Homer Simpson, because I was like, man, I could eat donuts and just watch people mess with radiation
Yeah.
all day. So I thought that was like the coolest kind of gig. And then they started shutting down the program with I think there was an incident in Japan with a radiation incident. So I was like, great, what do I do now? First, the power line mechanic thing went down, and now the nuclear thing went down. So then I transferred. I got my first year and a half paid for college, and then I transferred to Orange County
Okay.
to finish up. I was like, well, I did like economy, College wasn't too bad. I did find some fun stuff out of it. I just didn't know what to do, so I like the business aspect of it. So I just pursued into a business degree, and I got my AA at Orange Coast College. And then from there, I didn't know what school I was going to transfer into. I was like, whatever school will take me at this point, because I just wanted to finish my degree. And I was going for accounting because I was like, oh man, I could actually find a pursuit in accounting and maybe be a CPA or whatever. And then I ended up transferring to Cal State Fullerton, and it was between there and Long Beach because I was like, man, this is like, it's one or the other, and I didn't get accepted into Long Beach, and I got into Fullerton, and I didn't think I was going to get into Fullerton because it was like a tougher school to get into.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, So I finished my accounting degree there, and I thought I wanted to be a CPA, and then I realized like it's kind of like not as fun as like you have this image or you have it all figured out, and then once you do it, it's like, no, this just doesn't feel like the right path to take. Like lots of work, and it's not the setting I thought it was gonna be. So I went into like a private sector, and I started working for this company called Next Info, and I've been there ever since. Literally finished my degree, and they gave me a chance. They actually threw away my resume because I made some mistakes on it, and I called them back, and they were like, okay. Elise was working there at the time, one of my bosses, and it was pretty cool because she was like, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We threw away your resume because you had some mistakes on it. I'll give it back to you, and I'll let you revise it and resubmit. So then I was like, I don't know what's wrong with it. So I made some revisions. I sent it back, and then I called them later, and they were like, okay, we didn't call you back because you didn't make the revisions that we were looking for. And I told them, look, if I don't know what I'm supposed to correct, how am I supposed to know? They're like, that's a good point. So then they brought me on to see how I'd work, and I figured it out, man.
Yeah.
I was like, look, just give me an assignment. I'll work on it, and 10 years later, almost like next year will be my 10 year with them. I mean, I'm still there, and I've moved up, and it's been pretty cool.
Heck
pretty
yeah.
cool journey.
Hey Phineas,
Yeah.
can you do me a favor and open that door? And you can just leave it open. I think Thad wants to watch the squirrels and the birds and
Oh,
whatnot.
This one?
Yes, please. Or the one on your left,
left, Finny.
little bit next to the
Very
desk,
left.
all the way on your left. There you go. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Did you take any of the CPA exams?
No.
Good for you. You're probably a healthier individual. I took BC, passed it.
Oh my gosh.
Took audit, passed it. Then I failed tax and I failed FAR. And
Oh
I had
my
the same
gosh.
realization you did. I was studying my butt off. I wasn't seeing friends. I was spending all weekend in the books. So I was working 70+ hour weeks during tax season. And then I was studying all weekend. And I had the same realization you did. I was like, I hate this. In school, it was fine. You know, in college, it was. I thought I understood. I liked it in college, and then when I got into the real world and I started doing taxes and audits and inventory counts and studying for the CPA exams, and I was killing myself. And I was like, I don't even want to do this. I was making $50,000. It's like it's not even like it's decent money. 50,000 isn't bad, but it's not for what I was doing. I was
Yeah.
like, why do I want to do this? I had no interest.
Yeah. All of the hours you put in, you calculate. You're like, wait a minute. I think I'm almost losing money. Or
I'm working for
making...
less than minimum
Yeah,
wage.
yeah, exactly. You're like, wow. Like, no, this doesn't sound right. This is 40+ hours. Like, you start doing the math, and it's overwhelming. It's so many hours of your life, and it's not living.
No.
It's not living. Yeah.
So when you were 17, your girlfriend, someone comes to you and tells you she's pregnant. What was who was she, and what was sort of your reaction to that? Do you remember?
I mean, she was my girlfriend at the time, and it was just like, darn, I'm gonna be a young dad, dude.
Yeah.
Like this sucks. Like it's the reality of it. Like not that it sucks, but it's like I'm gonna have to grow up real quick.
Did you tell your? Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Did you? Were you scared to tell your parents? Did you tell your dad, and how did they react?
I told my dad, and he was like, I had a feeling. He's like, I knew. He's like, I just knew. He's like, I had a feeling. So yeah, and it was like that point in time where you kind of have that switch where it's like, I need to make money fast. I need to finish school fast. I need to do everything fast. So it was like a big switch. Like you can't really take life easy. You have to kind of be on quick mode, and that's where it was like I want to do like the quicker programs. Like Powerline mechanic was 6 months.
Yep.
Nuclear operator was 2 years.
Yep.
Like all these little things, but then it started unraveling where it was just like everything led to like a 4-year degree. And I was like, darn, like I just missed my son because we weren't together like at the time. And so I would drive from Orange County to go pick up my son for the weekend and then take him back to his mom's and then drive back to school or drive back to the city. And I was doing that twice a month or every other weekend. And it was just so taxing, and I was just so tired. And I just asked her, like, hey, let me finish school. Let me finish school and let me bring him with me. That's like my biggest thing. Like, if I could just finish school, I could get my stuff together, and I'll give him a good home. Like he'll be taken care of. And sure enough, that's what I did. So I was going to school, and then I met my wife now. We actually met at this place called like SWAT, like a spring break thing.
Okay.
So it was, I think, her second year in college, and then it was like a little getaway where it was like spring break where you paid, and then it was like you'd go to Lake Havasu, and then everyone would be partying and stuff, and then I ended up meeting her. Then we kind of kept talking post that whole little thing because we're like, oh, we actually go to the same school. That's pretty cool. And then next thing you know, we're kind of dating, and then we end up getting together, and then we had Vinny before being married and stuff, and then like so that whole thing happened. So I already had 2 kids by the time I was like 23,
Whew.
but I was getting to finishing school, and I knew I had to get my stuff together. But by that time, we were already living together, like
Yeah.
kind of like setting up our own little family. We were in a 1 bedroom apartment in Santa Ana, just making things work, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's just, we kind of expedited everything pretty quick, and it was kind of the same thing where she was really young when she had Finney too. So it's like we're young parents. We have to kind of get it together and support each other and figure things out. So
Yeah, my brother and his wife were in a really similar boat. They had both just graduated their senior year of high school, so I think they were either 18 and 17 or 19 and 18. I forget their exact age, but yeah, they did something very similar where they had their first kid, and then before you knew it, they had a second kid, and then before you knew it, they had a third kid, and they were both like, when the third one came, I think they were only in their mid-20s, but they just kept popping out kids on accident. They were like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this again, you know? And they were sort of in a similar mindset that you were, where they were just like, we got to get jobs and figure out how to make money. And my brother became an engineer. My sister-in-law ended up becoming a social worker of sorts. And
that's awesome.
they just did what they had to do. You know, that's just what you have to do with life sometimes, is life is all of a sudden knocking on your door and you don't have any choice except to just react and figure out, okay, this is reality. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah, it comes knocking hard, like like rent's due, like, or you're gonna get evicted, like, oh my gosh, like, like you just sink or swim.
If you don't mind me asking, this is very personal. Was Phineas on accident, or were you guys trying to have another kid?
Phineas was definitely on accident. so no. Achilles was on accident. Phineas was on accident. But we're at a point where things are a little better, and we're kind of tinkering, like, hey, maybe let's bring in a little girl into our little family,
Yeah.
Right now the house is dominated by machismo and boys, she's like, you guys are too many dudes, like farting around, or like we're just she's like, I could smell the machismo in the air, like, no, that's just sweat, babe.
Yeah.
So
I hope it happens, because my brother and his wife were the same way. I think the third one was on purpose, and they had another boy. And at that point, they were like, okay, we're cutting it off, because they almost thought, like, if we have a fourth kid hoping it's a girl, it's going to be another boy. That's the track record, is we just keep pumping out these boys.
Yeah.
So I hope for you guys. So are you trying to have a little girl right now?
We're trying to kind of play it by ear, like we haven't had that time to, like, we're barely starting to go out for like date nights. We're barely, we're at a point where the boys are old enough where they could hold their own, and we're barely, like, experiencing, like, hey babe, let's just, Wednesday nights are our night, let's go watch a movie, let's go have a beer, let's go, us time.
Yeah.
And that's something I feel like we need, and it's very healthy for our relationship, not just our Monday through Saturday, because we're just so busy. Like, we're training, we're working, I'm teaching kids wrestling, we're literally driving to Georgetown like every day, driving to Round Rock every day, going somewhere, birthday parties. Like, life is just kind of everywhere, so we don't have a day to really, like, settle. And Wednesdays have been those days right now where to settle. And then with fighting, it's like, she's doing jiu-jitsu too. So if she has a competition, or if I'm getting ready for a fight, it takes time. And if we're having another girl or whatever the case, that girl needs time. You need to nurture, cater. So it's either I get a few more fights in and see where this is going. But also, she's made it very clear too, like, you can't just stop. She's like, you can't just stop life and be like, I have to stop fighting in order to have another child. Like, no, people go through it all the time. Phineas is a gym baby. When I started fighting, he was literally born and right there in the stroller just watching us train and stuff. So there's no excuse. If we had another daughter, we could have a daughter right now and I could still train, she could still train, but at this like point in time it'd be better just to kind of take a few more vacations,
Yeah.
like kind of get that out of the way that we have a little leeway or free time for us, and then get back into it if we do want to have another child, like commit to it. And the world shouldn't stop if you have another child. It should just keep going and you figure it out on the way.
Yeah.
And that's somewhere where I kind of have trouble kind of putting them both together, but my wife gives me clarity and perspective like, no, you don't need to stop, just figure it out how we always have and just roll with the punches, or the cookie's still gonna crumble. So
Yeah.
yeah, she gives me a lot of insight and another perspective. So she's my other half, and I love her to death. So
I know we've only known each other for a few minutes, but in cruising through your Instagram and also talking to you this morning, you and your wife seem like you guys are pretty close. Can you attribute that to anything? Is there anything you both do to keep yourselves connected and as a unit? And you seem like you're rocking it pretty well.
yeah. I mean, we spend a lot of time together. We spend a lot of time together. Through COVID, we worked together. Um, we've just figured a lot of stuff out together, and she's very big with communication, and I'm very bad at communication.
You don't
Sometimes.
seem like it.
Yeah, no,
You're very articulate.
yeah, no. She will get beneath the surface and be like, "Hey, what's wrong? Hey, we need to talk about this. Hey, like," and I'll brush things off, and then it's like, "Okay, babe, let's talk about it."
Yeah.
And I think it's that what really makes a difference, where we're able to talk about stuff and communicate. And if it wasn't for that communication, I think for couples in general, that's like a huge thing where you need to sit down with your spouse or your significant other and be like, hey, let's really address the situation or the elephant in the room, and figure out what's going on instead of just brushing it off and moving forward. Like, and we don't yell, we don't do a lot of stuff that our parents used to do, where it's like, hey, your mom does that type of stuff, or hey, your dad does that type of stuff. Let's sit down and let's talk about it and let's fix it. Like, if you ask the boys if we're ever yelling or fighting at it, like with each other, no, we'll sit down and we'll talk about something, because we don't want to repeat what our parents did, and we want to have a better cycle and give the kids a better, healthy relationship, and show them how it should be when you're growing up, and how to take approaches and even do better than us. You always want the best for your kids, or if they could outgrow you, or do something better than you, then that's the ultimate goal, because you want to better this world.
Yeah.
You want to make good men or good women, so they could go out and flourish and make good decisions in life. So I think that's our ultimate goal. And just working on ourselves internally has been great for, one, our marriage, our kids, our community, our circle, and I love her to death. Like, every year it gets sweeter, and every year I tell her, I fall that much more in love with you.
That's so cool. I was listening to a dating podcast recently, and they had a different guest on every week, from matchmakers to like they had a psychologist on who specialized in couples therapy. And one of the guests was saying, like, listen, you guys have to have a date night every week, because we think about it, like, we check in on our finances, right? You check your bank account, you check your expenses. At our jobs, we have annual evaluations. And why is it any different with your significant other? Why would you guys not have a night, a week, a month where you just sit down and you touch on your relationship and check in on, see how things are going? So when you mentioned your date night, I mentioned that, I was thinking, like, that's awesome and that's needed. And that makes me happy for you guys, that you're taking time once a week or whatever the cadence is, just to have a night to yourselves where you can just check in on things and make sure everything's okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's been really good for our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple minutes ago you sort of took the pedal off of fighting for a little bit and then you put it back on. And I think when we were on the phone, you had mentioned that you felt like you had been officially, in the fight scene for about 9 years, 10 years. How old were you, and what made you decide to start pressing forward with MMA again?
I you know I never really took the gas pedal off.
Okay.
Like as far as training, I've always been training consecutively. It was more like getting fights and stuff and just like fighting because it was just overwhelming, and it has been like 9 or 10 years. But since I came to the new gym Iron Forge, it's been great, man. It's just been fluorescing, and the stuff we're cultivating there, I know it's a recently like new gym. It just keeps getting like growing, and the community keeps building, and they keep bringing like local talent or talent from outside, and it's just been so cool to be a part of and grow. And the coaches all like they're very caring, very understanding, and like yeah, man, it's just the what's cultivating in the room, from the pros to the amis to the hobbyists, like everyone, even just the people going to get a lift in. Like the community's so cool, and everyone kind of backs up each other, and it's just really cool what it's like progressing. The owners of the gym are really cool. Yeah, man, they're bringing everything we need to be a complete fighter in house. So that's been so cool. Like, I'm a pretty big guy. I cut from 175 to 180 all the way down to 135.
That's insane.
So that tells you like the discipline, but also everything I do inside the gym. I'm able to do it because I have all the resources necessary, from strength and conditioning, um, weightlifting, using the sauna rooms. There's like, yeah, there's in-house like massages. Like there's all kinds of stuff there that if you just ask, like you could do everything there. So I'm able to do cardio machines, like
Yeah.
everything. There's even a system for kids to go play while their parents are getting their workout in.
Heck
Like
yeah.
Vinny is there with all the other kids, and they're jamming out, playing the games, and even the adults chime in like, "Oh, hold up, Super Mario, let's go!" So
Yeah.
everyone's there, like bunch of gamers, bunch of social media, like influencers. Like there's everything there, which is really cool. And the facility's open 24/7, so if you just need to
Oh,
go
that's
out
cool.
and like clear your mind, like, you know what, it's 4 in the morning, I can't sleep, I'm just gonna go to the gym and just pump some stress out. And yeah, there's like saunas, and then the facility, the area is big, so you could have a Muay Thai class going, multiple classes going, or whatever the case, but everything's fit for you to do whatever you need to do there.
Yeah.
So, and with the fight scene, I mean, we've just been training and like fighting and just getting ready. My buddy just fought one of the head coaches there, RJ. He's the king of Louisiana now, man. Went to Raging FC, fought for the 135 strap. Um, Finishes the guy like in 10 seconds. And I know all the preparation, all the hard work he put in. He was ready for a 5 round war, and I mean, just the discipline. He starched this guy, but very, very humble, very grateful. Next thing, he's right back into the gym getting ready to help the next set of guys that were fighting, which I was fighting the next week, help us get ready for those fights. And what do I do in return? Come back that Monday morning, help the other guys get ready. Like it's just that culture that we're building. Like you could be hurt, whatever the case, we're right back into the gym the next Monday morning, getting ready for the next guys who are getting ready, either a body, a corner, whatever the case. Like we're there for each other, and that
Yeah.
makes a huge difference when you're cutting weight and you feel like crap, and you see your coaches or the guys that just fought come into the gym. Like, that's inspiring. That's motivating. Like, it lights a fire under your butt. Like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Like that's who I want to be like. That's who I want to portray. That's why I'm gonna win this weekend, and I'm gonna come back, and my brother's gonna win next. So
Yeah, I have a workout buddy that joins me for my lifts about 80% of the time. And almost every one of the things I look forward to the most at the end of a workout is sitting in the sauna, which might be crazy talk, but I love it.
that's so much fun.
And my goal is to sit in there for a minimum of 20 minutes. And if I'm by myself, sometimes I'll catch myself escaping at like minute 16, minute 17. But when my workout buddy's with me, dude, we always stay in there for 20 minutes because it's so much easier I'm like, man, Tyler's just sitting there. I'm not about to leave when he's not making any indication that he's leaving. And when you surround yourself by people, whether it's fighting, podcasting, but when you have other people doing the same thing, it just helps so much to know, like, you see all your, everyone else doing it. So I'm not going to bail out, you know?
Or you forget that the time's even going. You're
Yes.
like, oh, it's already been 20 minutes. I could go another 20.
Let's stay in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was scrolling through your Instagram, I noticed that, dude, I've never done any kind of fighting. I did a little of karate when I was a kid, but nothing too intense. You're at Barton Springs swimming laps. You're at the gym. I saw you doing some hill sprints in one of your posts. For you, on the days when you don't want to do it, do you have any kind of fallback for like how you're going to get through it? Or like, it's one thing to say have discipline, but like true discipline is, where do you harness that? Where do you get that from on the days when you're just like, I don't want to do this thing, fuck it? How do you find the inner strength to go train anyways?
I already have it in my schedule. And once it's in my schedule, I do not like to break rhythm. Like, even at the gym right now, it's like I'll set my schedule a week in advance. I'm going to this class, this class, this class. I'm not going to go to that class. And that's just because I have a doctor's appointment or something.
Sure.
I do this, Monday through Saturday. And that's just it. Once it's dialed in, I'm not going to miss class. Unless it was like the kids getting sick or something, and then I let the coaches know right away. But once it's in the books, there's no scratching or avoiding it. Like, I don't care how I feel, I'm going to that class.
So it's just as easy as that. You keep your word to yourself.
Yeah.
I said I'm going to this class at 6 p.m. on Thursday night. There's no other option.
Yeah.
It's such an easy hack. Just keep your commitments.
Yeah. Even though those like swims and stuff. Yeah. Like, a lot of that outside training was with Isak at he owns a gym now in New Braunfels called Longhorn Health and Fitness. So he just moved out there, I want to say a year and a half ago. Very unorthodox like training, so a lot of outdoorsy stuff. So like a lot of swims, hikes, trails, steel mace, barbells, like it's super unorthodox, like hit workouts, and I'll tell you, man, like grips and everything, like it high intensity. Like if I could burn the pace or cardio, it was because he really pushed me to another level. He works with a lot of good athletes and gets you like burning. Well, that was a lot that had to do with him, man. I'm very grateful for him, and like we'll kick it every now and then. But yeah, he has his facility out there, and yeah, man, he just held you to it too. Like if you say you're gonna do something, do it, and put it in your schedule, and that's it. You know, because if you're lukewarm about something, you're not gonna do it. You already go into that mindset where it's like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling. You already lost the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you already said I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do it. So, yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is from I don't know who said it first, but you, knowing how old you are, you got to be familiar with Saturday Night Live, right?
Oh yeah.
Someone, I forget who it was. I think it was their main director, and I wish I could give him credit right now, but his name is just escaping me. But he said, "We don't start because we're ready. We start because it's Saturday night at 11 o'clock."
Oh.
So no matter what's going on, it's go time, and I love that that I try to take that mentality too of, you know, today I felt pretty ready for you. I had a good night's sleep last night. I had a cup of coffee even before you got here. I felt good to go. But there have been some episodes where someone will text me and they'll be like, "I'll be there in 20 minutes." I'm just like, "Shit." I'm either not in the mood, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm hungover, maybe who knows what it is. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they're going to be here in 20 minutes, and I got to get going whether I'm ready or not. And I feel like, when I was in college and when I was a kid, I didn't embrace that mentality a lot. I procrastinated a lot. I flaked a lot. But now that I've got a little bit older and a little bit more savvy at doing life, it's just go time sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the mood or whatever's going on, here it is.
Yeah.
Life comes knocking. Seems to be the theme of this episode, and
Oh,
we gotta react no matter what state of mind you're
For
in.
sure. Dude, I have a funny story for you.
Yes, please.
So, me and my buddies, where I teach, do jiu-jitsu, teach some wrestling. It's 10 Planet Georgetown. And we got together with like all the parents. It was adults only Korean barbecue night.
Yes.
So
yes.
it was a premeditated murder a few months ago, where Coach Kevin was like, "Hey, we have to get all the adults together. We have to do Korean barbecue after your fight." And we said, "Okay, cool, let's do it." And then we put it in our schedule, like I said, and we said post fight that Wednesday night. It's date night or adult night. We're gonna go. We're gonna drop off all the kids together.
Yes.
They're not gonna come. We're not gonna pay $30 a head for the kids to go eat chicken nuggets or whatever.
Right.
No.
No.
No. So we left them all together, got some pizzas, and then we end up going. And we end up going from 9, and then it's like a 2-hour limit or whatever. Oh my gosh, dude! I ate so much meat and just like. It was ridiculous because we were like ordering. They're like, "Dude, you should probably like kind of like slow it down." I'm like, "I know, dude, but we only got 2 hours. Like, we gotta,
Yes.
like once it's done, it's done." And then everyone's like starting to get full. And I, when I am ever since the fight, I tried staying on like a keto diet, and it's been helping because I've actually been able to keep my weight low. So I haven't been really having any baked goods or sugar or carbs or anything. I've just been like straight up fat or meat. And I do a lot of carnivore mode or ketovore.
Yep.
So I just stay busy on the meat and just all that stuff. So I'm over here racking up like meat and soup and meat and just like eating. And it's already past like 2 hours, and my buddy's like, "I'm sorry." It's because he was supposed to like fight. I just kind of gave him the spew, and they're like, "No, just keep eating. You guys are good. You guys are good." We end up going an hour over the limit, so it's like 3 hours, and we ordered a ton of food, and everyone's like full. So I'm like, "Shoot, well, I gotta eat this stuff. If not, they're gonna charge us extra."
Yep.
So I'm over here picking away, and they let us leave like an hour later than closing. And it was really cool, and everyone was really great. It was very nice at Jen's Korean BBQ, and it was cool, man. It was cool. They were like, "No, eat, dude. Like you've been like, not you starved yourself
Yep.
for the fight and everything, and like enjoy it." So it was really nice of them to do that. Obviously took care of them when the tip came around, but yeah. So back to the story. We get home because we all carpooled. It's like 2 a.m. because we went super late, and I'm just like super stuffed with like meat. And then it starts hitting like 2:30. I was like, I feel like I had to do something tomorrow. And I was like, oh my gosh, the podcast. And I was like, shoot, I gotta put my alarm. So I put my alarm, and then I woke up. But the point of the story is...
This was last night.
Yes. At 3 a.m. So I'm like, the podcast. Like, babe, I got to put my alarm, like, no. So then I put my alarm, and I fell asleep with the light on. I was so full. I was like, oh. And then when I woke up, I just had a coffee. I was like, Finney, we got to go. So then we just came a little extra early. But the point of the story is, once it's in the schedule, we're getting it done.
Yeah.
Because, that's just, we had a scheduled time, and I hate not meeting expectations or whatever the case. I'm not a flake. So I said, we're going to go. We're going to have a good time. I'm already full. I don't need breakfast. Let's
Yep.
just go. I feel great. I just need some coffee, and bam, we're here.
Dude, it's so first off, thank you for still being here. I appreciate it. Me and about 6 to 9 guys from the gym, we all go to Gold's, and about every 2 to 3 months we do what you just described. We just go out to Korean barbecue, and
Nice.
it's funny because I always think like we're that one group of people where they lose money. Most people that come in, they probably make money, but then they get groups like probably your friends and
Yeah.
my friends where we come in, and during that 2 hours we have a mission. We're gonna talk, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna have a good time,
Some
and we're
sake
gonna
bombs.
eat.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
eat so much food. And now the place we go to, I think it's called K-Pie, and it's sort of down south. And so
yes.
they put the iPad right on the table, and I think you can order every 10 minutes. And as soon as that 10-minute timer hits, one of us is grabbing that thing, and we're putting in our next round of food. And dude, we demolish so much food when we're there. It's so much fun.
We had K-pot in, oh my gosh, I think it was Orlando, and their hot pot. We did the K-pot and barbecue.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we were so full. But yes, that place is so good, and you just get your money's worth. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
Oh no, that was about it. It was just that so many good memories of that place, and I don't even know how we came together. I think I invited one or two of them on the podcast, and that's sort of how we met. And then all of us are always there at the same time. And there is one week where there's just like 6 or 7 of us at the gym, and we all got talking in between our workout. And I was like, guys, I forget, it wasn't me. It was one of the other dudes, but he was like, I got to keep my workout going. But do you guys all just want to grab dinner sometime? And now we've been going out every 2 to 3 months for about 2 years.
That's
and it's
awesome.
just been great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to kind of socialize, get away from the gym, but also like, just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of your fights.
Yeah.
When was your first? You remember when your first one was?
Oh yeah. First official amateur
First official.
fight.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Many before that.
Yeah.
Dozens, if not hundreds.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That one was fun, man. I was scheduled to fight. I want to say July 2017, and I was supposed to fight a purple belt, and I was a little scared because I was only doing it for like 9-10 months, and my coach was like, you should do an MMA fight. And I was like, maybe I could do like kickboxing first. He's like, no, MMA. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, you go to all the classes. It's like, you go to wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing. Why would you just do kickboxing? Like, that makes no sense. I was like, well, I guess you got a point. So the coach wanted to prepare me for that. He's like, you help everyone else get ready for their fights. Why not just do an MMA fight too? I was like, okay. So I started prepping. In California, you have to do weigh-ins the same day. You don't get a leeway of day.
Okay.
So it's in Texas and other states, you weigh in, let's say Thursday morning to get ready to fight on Friday. In California, you weigh in Thursday morning to get ready to fight Thursday evening. So that makes a huge difference when you're cutting weight to fight that same day. So I was getting ready for a fight, and I was going to fight at 125, my first fight. I ended up getting stretched a certain way when I was training the week of the fight. I ended up breaking my ribs.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was
That's a painful one, right?
Oh, dude, it was so painful.
Oh, yeah.
I just heard pop, pop. And I was like, oh, man. Oh. And I still have, like, the wedge right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hold on. And I start panicking, and I start freaking out. I was like, it hurts when I breathe. And I had to sit on the side, and I felt like throwing up. So I go to the ER, and the doctor or the ER doc was like, oh, it looks like you have a cartilage separation. So he's pressing down on it. And I'm like, oh, that hurts, dude. Like, please stop.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he's like, you're going to have to go to your physician. I go to the physician. He looks at it. He's like, breathe out. He's like, oh, it's broken. I was like, but the other doctor said it was like a separated cartilage. He's like, no. He's like, your ribs naturally curve. He's like, so if you look at your ribs and the frame of it, he's like, this is broken. He's like, it wasn't that your cartilage was separated. It's just inflamed. He's like, so you're going to have to sit out. So I'm over here crying my eyeballs out because I can't fight. And I was super disappointed because that week was supposed to be my MMA debut.
Yep.
And the guy that I was supposed to fight was like showing off in the cage. And I was like, you coward. He's like, yeah, he just didn't want to fight me. I was like, well, if I didn't break my ribs, I would have, in a heartbeat. But luckily, he found someone else to fight and gets knocked out. And like, I was like, all right, that's your karma, whatever.
Yeah.
So then 2 months later, or I guess it was a few months later, I was starting to get ready and like condition, get ready for a fight. My buddy gets hurt. And then I was like, hey, I could step into this fight. Like, I feel good to go. I can make weight. So I end up stepping in a few months later, and I fight a guy, and it was my debut, and I felt really good, and I end up finishing the guy first round, and all my teammates finished their fights too, and, that was like my first amateur fight, and it was like the best feeling in the world just to like get my hand raised, and I was like, this was the first one of many to come, so it's pretty cool.
That is cool. Let me ask you two questions about that story you just told. In general, when you're going into a fight, is your mind blank? Is it racing a million miles an hour? Are you almost like trying to visualize what you're going to do? Like what is your personal headspace when you're stepping into the ring?
The day of?
The moment of?
The moment of, oh, it's time to go. As soon as you step off the scale to weigh in, or as soon as you see your weight, that you made weight and you're ready to fight, the whole perspective, the whole mind changes in a heartbeat. As long as you step on the scale and you made weight, and as soon as they write the document like official weight, boom, mindset. I'm ready to kill this guy. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to do this and that. All that hard work now is going to come into motion. Now we're going to step in there. Now we're going to do the dance. Like, it's just golden hour. So that's like the toughest part of fighting is making the weight. And once you make the weight, you're just so happy to step in the cage. And you're going to be in a war. But that's what we're prepping for. That's what a bunch of like, I guess some people get more nervous than others, but when I go in there, I'm like, I've been training a few months for this. I've been training to fight another gladiator in the cage for 3 5-minute rounds, and I'm ready to entertain the world, and I'm ready to tear this guy's head off. Because at the end of the day, we're modern day gladiators. You look at the Colosseums, and you look at like where we fight today, it's the same thing. It's just like an open dome. But here we have a closed dome. They lock the cage. You have your mask on or you don't. You have like a sword and shield. And you literally sign a death waiver ready to fight. And it's just like the most craziest feeling in the world. And when you lock eyes with the other guy, like, I know some people get crazy and like want to get in your face and stuff, but I'm very calm when I walk into the cage. I'm very composed. I'm very like, okay, yeah, we're gonna fight. There's no way around it. Like, me and you are gonna get into the cage, and as soon as they lock it, someone's gonna come out of here standing, and someone here is not gonna come out of here standing, and I'm gonna be the guy that comes out. Because my family's in the audience right now watching, and all these people come, usually the away team, to see me lose, and I have nothing to lose. And we're going to fight, and we're going to give these people what they want to see, and I want to see blood. If it's mine or yours, we're going to, do the dance. So,
What's it feel like to have your hand raised?
It's good. It's good. It's good. Honestly, hand raised or not, you got to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
It's either you enjoy the moment in the good or in the bad. Because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've won belts. I've also lost. But just being able to step into the cage and actually fight, that's like, that's what really makes you excited. Like, it's either A, I won and that was really cool. Let's get in there again. Or B, I lost. What adjustments do I need to make for the next one? And I had a hell of a time. I had a hell of a camp. We actually got to fight. And, let's run it back. Let's do it again. Let's just keep staying busy. What hurts is when you get someone flake on you, or you can't fight, or something happened where it's like this past fight.
I was going to say we planned the podcast around that almost.
Yeah.
You wanted to do your fight first and then come on.
Yeah.
And tell us about that. He ended up flaking, and what sort of goes through your head, and what's that experience like?
Oh, cowardice. Cowardice. How could you? If you want to fight, you'll fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to fight, you'll fight. So, first thing, we're scheduled to fight at 135. Okay, so we're supposed to make weight Saturday morning. If this guy didn't think he was gonna be able to make weight, you reach out Friday. Hey man, reach out to your coaches. Your coaches could reach out to me. I don't think I'm gonna make weight. Can we do a catch weight at 140? Cool. I don't have to sit in the sauna. I don't have to do this or that. All I have to do is make 140. I could hydrate a little. Wake up the next day, get a good night's sleep. We weigh in at 140. That's the catch weight. And then we fight. We could refuel everything. This guy reaches out. I'm up till 2 in the morning on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
making weight. I make the weight, 135. I get a message at 8 in the morning from his coach. Hey, this guy's not going to make 135. Can we do a catch weight at 140? I'm like,
What time's the fight supposed to be?
well, the weigh-ins are at 9.
So you have an hour. You get put on the spot to gain 5 pounds in an hour.
Yes. And I'm like, no, dude. No, the commission will be okay with me being 136, 135, 136. It's a 4-pound weight allotment. I'm going to collect $100 per pound that your guy missed. And no, my coaches, I ran it through my coaches. They're like, fuck that. No, make that guy sweat. Make him get down in weight. So that's not fair. You put way too much work into this. Have him come down. So then he was like, okay, yeah, he's going to go down. And the guy doesn't. And then we get to weigh-ins, and they're like, we're going to have to do a catch weight at a heavier weight if you still want to fight. My coaches are kind of like iffy, like that's not fair, man. Like this guy's way overweight. He was at 143.
And you said a minute ago, there's a 4-pound grace period. So if you say 135, you can be as light as 131, heavy as 139?
Pretty much. But we both have to be within a 5-pound allotment.
Gotcha.
So
if you're at 135, he can't be an ounce heavier than 140.
Yeah. So if they said, okay, cool, at 140 or 143, that's fine. He was going to give up his check. But then they said, okay, these are the two options you could do. A, he forfeits his whole check and you take it. Or B, we do a hydration clause at 150.
What's a hydration clause?
He can't go to the fights. He has to get to the scale at the fights, like when we check in.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to be 150 or less. That way we have like a fair advantage where I could go up to whatever weight I need to, but he can't go over 150. That means he has 5. So when he weighed in at 145 because he weighed in at 143, but it was an unofficial weight. Mm-hmm. It was just to check your weight, and he starts hydrating.
Mm-hmm.
He starts hydrating. They're like, what are you doing? That wasn't the actual official weight. Like, you have to get it on the scale to record. And he's like, oh, I thought that was the official weight, but he was BSing. They're like, no, dude. So he's already taking off the commission. So he steps on the scale at 145. And they're like, well, now we have to make the weight at 145. So I'm over here chugging a ton of hydration fuel just to get up like almost 10 pounds, and I'm full of liquid, and I'm like, dude, I only have like 30 minutes to get up, and that's like a lot of water, you know, like that's also not good for you to just start chugging away. Like you could literally drown your organs from drinking too much water too. I'm like, well, crap, man, where's a banana? Where's like a granola bar?
Yeah.
You know, like trying to fuel up. So I'm over here trying to put on weight instead of losing it. I was like, this could all been avoided if they would have just told us yesterday. So that happened, and I was really ticked off about that. And my coaches were like, well, what do you want to do? Like, we recommend doing the hydration clause where he can't come in over 150. Like, that makes it a fair fight. And I was like, okay, let's do that, you know, because I know I'll get to 150 once I'm like fully hydrated and stuff. So keep this in mind. From 145 to 150 the next day, that's 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You've already hydrated 2 pounds of liquid from the time you stepped on the scale from 143 to 145. That's 5 pounds you had as leeway for the next day for us to fight. So we weigh in, we do all the stuff, I start putting on weight, whatever the case. We get to the fights the next day, and you're supposed to get there at 11:30 to check in. This guy's supposed to get there at 11:30 to check in so he could jump on the scale. Mm-hmm. And after he jumps on the scale, he could have water, food, whatever the case. Not only could you have water and food, whatever the case, you also have that 5 pound allowance. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot of food, you know, like that a 16-ounce steak is like a lot of meat.
Yeah.
For 1 pound. A 16 ounce of water is 1 pound. Like, you could have easily worked around those 5 pounds to like feel good, get through the next day, weigh in, and then go ahead and fuel or get ready to fight. Irregardless, you didn't have to cut any weight. I was the one who had to cut. So it was really upsetting that he tries to roll up an hour later.
12:30.
Yes. Late to check-ins. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm making you do all the talking. I should be apologizing.
No. Late to check-ins.
As soon as you said 11:30, I was like, he's going to show up late. I know that's where this story is going.
Yeah. He rolls up late, 11:30. And it's funny because my coaches are strict. They're like very punctual, right on time.
Yep.
Preparations, everything. Like they're it's RJ. That was my corner. There's a coach though, and then there's also JD. He's like the newest addition to the team, but he's badass too, man. Like they're about that life, like road dogs, ride or die. So he's there. So we're all right here, just like, boom, waiting right there by the scale. And as soon as he's about to walk in, he sees us. And it's like he saw a ghost, man. He sees us right there, and he doesn't step inside the facility. Starts calling his corner, starts doing this and that. And then the commission's like, hey, you got to step on the scale. He's like, I'm not going to step on the scale. He's like, because he was over. And it's like, why? He's like, because I'm going to call my coaches. He didn't want to step on the scale because he was over.
And he knew it.
Mm-hmm. All he had to do was step on the scale, be like, look, I'm over the weight allotment. I was like, what's the worst we're going to do? I'm going to take your check. I'm still going to kick your ass. Mm-hmm. And we're going to keep fighting. He didn't want to step on the scale. The commission said, if you don't step on the scale right now, we're going to scratch the card. They scratched the card. He tries to come back like 30 minutes later. He's like, okay, I'll step on the scale now. And my coaches were like, dude, he came back. He's like, we could probably still run it. He's like, get that guy on the scale. Get the guy on the scale. And then the commission was like, no, we can't.
What did you want to do? Would you have fought him still?
I wanted to fight, dude.
Yeah, I knew.
I wanted to fight. Yeah. You think, like, when we would fight, like, in high school or on the streets, it doesn't matter what weight class you're at, it's
Yeah.
like run up or shut up, dude, like you're not going to run away from a fight. You're going to fight whoever, and the preparation's there. So it was like all you had to do was just step on the scale. We were going to fight you no matter what. So it was really upsetting and really annoying that he wouldn't be a man, just step on the scale, and we would have fought him at whatever weight class. It's not even about the money. It's about being a man and being someone of your word to, like, hey, if I get my ass kicked, I get my ass kicked, and that it is what it is. But what a coward.
It's
What a
interesting.
coward.
It's interesting because when you were talking about, when you lose, you keep going. You reassess, right? What do we need to fix? And we keep going. So it's one thing to step into the fight and lose. But in this case, they called the morning of at 8 a.m. He showed up an hour late. He didn't step on the scale. He wasn't the right weight. How do you recover from that? Because you just broke 4 promises to yourself. You committed to a fight, you committed to a weight, you committed to a time. That seems like it's a million times harder to pick myself up from that than it would be to step into a ring and say I lost to Mo.
I
Dude, that's rough
yeah,
on him.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how he sleeps at night.
I don't, I don't either.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. One of my coaches said the hardest stuff, and I was just like mind blown. My coach Joshua Scales, super methodical stuff. He said we were talking about it, and then he was like, he was sitting on the couch. We were talking about it. He's like, hey man, the coyote fled when he saw eyes of a wolf.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. And he'll just, every now and then he'll say something like that. And I'm like, mind blown. Like, that was like, when I just saw it, like, that analogy was so hard. It was just, yeah. Yeah, he saw the boogeyman, man.
Yeah.
I think he just saw how prepared we were and, like, how dialed in we were. And I don't think he wanted that smoke. I think he really analyzed what he was getting himself into, and
Do you know him?
no.
No.
But I know he flaked from the last fight, almost identical to what he did.
It's got to be easy to repeat one, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's not a good thing. But once it's almost on both ends. Like for you, you say if I commit to a fight, it's easy to show up for that. And if I'm David, the guy who flakes on one fight, it becomes that much easier to flake again, and then
Yeah.
a third time, and we're almost building ourselves up for either success or failure.
Yeah.
I'm either a man of my word and it becomes easier and easier to keep my word, or I'm a man that flakes and it becomes easier and easier to flake. And then every time you flake, it becomes that much harder to say, I'm going to show up for this fight.
Yeah. I hope he gets suspended from the Commission of Texas. I hope they ban him at his gym because from what I heard, he's not even part of like that gym. He's like a gym hopper. So I hope there's repercussions and I hope there's action. So if any other fighters are thinking of doing that, they really evaluate what they're planning on doing, because it's not fair to the other guy that has to sacrifice time, money, resources, a trip, like this and that, like the organization, the commission, the coaches. There's so much more involved where it's like that's not fair. So
Well,
yeah.
and like what we weren't on mic yet, but when you got here for the sake of the audience, and we were walking in from the parking lot, you mentioned you only do it was 4 to 6 fights a year, right? And so if you miss out on even one of those, that's not a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. So now we're like scratching around trying to figure out like a return fight, or my coaches are already looking into it. But it sucks, like it's a momentum shift and all this stuff. But I will tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Um, me and my wife were praying about it. We were really praying and just like, why, God? Why did this happen? Why was everything so smooth post weigh, not even post weigh-ins, because even weigh-ins was a hot mess. But it was like, why did everything happen? You know, like why did everything go so smooth, but yet I didn't fight, and I was just praying about it and praying about it. And then this week I didn't do what I normally do. And what I normally do after fights is I go heavy on like sweets, carbs, all this stuff. I get up to like 170 real quick. And this time around, I stayed disciplined. I've been walking around at 150 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I've been very hard on keto, like all fats, low protein, low carb, and I've been able to maintain and eat happily, but not what I normally eat. And I think that was God's tribulation for me. Like, hey, I have a plan for you, and it's not going to be to fight. It's going to be, I need you to be patient and disciplined. And if you could hold this patience and this discipline for me, this is going to open doors for you to stay ready to fight quicker. Remember how we talked about getting quicker turnovers and stuff
Yep.
instead of going all the way up?
Yep.
That's the plan after this fight, is to stay busy, stay low. And I think God had a tribulation, and God will never put anything in front of you that you can't beat or that's too much for you. And I really feel this was my tribulation on, you need to stay focused, you need to stay disciplined, and something better will come your way. And you'll have these opportunities to fight quicker, and a 2 month gap versus a 3 month gap. So if you could just stay on the cycle and stay healthy and stuff, I promise you more success for your fight career, and also like in general for your health, because it's not healthy to go all the way up in weight and then go back down. So I've been able to maintain sorry, one
No, you're good. Do your thing.
I've been able to maintain a weight of 150, which is like unheard of in my fight career. So I'm grateful for God for really like showing me the patience and the discipline, and bringing a positive look on this, because it's very hard to kind of keep a straight face out of like frustration and anger that I wasn't able to fight. But at the same time, I need to hold it together for my teammates, for my coaches, and not blow everything out and be like, I'm just going to be a fatty and just eat a whole bunch of stuff. However, the one exception was a Korean barbecue.
Last night, baby.
Yes,
Let's
that
go.
one was premeditated murder, because we've been planning that for months.
And that's good for you. We
Yes.
got to have those nights where you and all the other, it's adult night, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the one cheat meal where I was like, okay, this I'm not going to push off. And we went over an hour. That was a 3 hour cap for us, and we went hard that
Did you weigh
day.
yourself this morning?
No.
You don't
I
want
did
to.
not want to, dude. I was like, no, this is the only day I'm not.
I'm not touching that
I'm
scale.
not touching that. Don't even look at me, scale, because I am not going to do that today.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
And even for that, I fasted 24 hours just to go to the Korean barbecue. Just because I know I could do it. And I've done intermittent fasting before, but I wanted to eat. Me and my wife were like, we're waiting 24 hours to go hard at this place.
Yeah.
So I went hard. But now I'm going to have to fast another 24 hours just to burn off everything that I ate. But it is healthy, you know, like
It's not
it was
it's
just-
not a bad it's not like you're going to McDonald's for 3 hours. You know? Yeah, it's you're like even us, all we order is meat and vegetables.
Yes. And that was the other thing. I didn't have rice. I did, the most I had was like a fried katsu, like just something like a little bit of like fat, you know,
Yeah.
or deep fried. But other than that, I didn't have rice. I didn't have rice paper, none of that stuff. It was just like straight meat. So in a protein aspect, the carnivore mode, I'm cool. But in a keto, you know, protein will turn to glucose. But it is what it is, you know. I needed that day to kind of unwind, and I know what to do to break that cycle and get back into ketosis. So I'm not killing myself, and I know I'll get the weight down and stay busy to where we could have a quick turnaround fight, and that's the ultimate goal. So thank you, God. And I'm blessed with, you know, I had food in my belly, and you know, so yeah, man, this was a perfect tribulation for me to kind of stay dialed in, and I'm ready to take a fight or a quick turnaround, if anything.
Yeah. Before we we hit the big red button and started recording. We talked about how every now and then it's inevitable that you have to fight one of your friends or someone you know personally. Does your mindset change at all, or is it almost the same situation?
It does, man. It does. I actually had to fight a friend before this fight, and it kind of messed me up too, man. I didn't want to take that fight. I did not want to take that fight. One, because he was a difficult body to deal with. And two, you don't want to fight your friends, dude. Like, that's just something that there's so many other people to fight. Why do you have to fight your friend? There's a world full of people that you could fight.
Yeah.
And then I had to take it at I was tinkering with 135, 145 because my weight cuts were so heavy that I'm still tinkering. Like, if I don't do 35, I'm totally cool with doing 45 because I feel strong at 45 too. And talking to my coaches, like, where is my max output gonna be when I fight? Like, do I want to be depleted and fight at 35 where camp's not like the best, or if I stay lower, or let's see the body composition, or at 45 where I could be like a wrecking ball also, or like a bully? Like, where do I want to fight at? So I went up a weight class, and then they gave my coaches a name when I was at 10th Planet. I didn't like the idea, but I hadn't fought in 2 years, so
Hmm.
we ended up taking the fight. I don't want to get into detail with
Sure.
with that whole stuff,
Sure.
but I ended up taking the fight, losing a decision, and then that happened. But as far as like mindset and aspect, like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit. You build character, you create an alliance with this person, and then you have to fight them. It's like, no, that doesn't sit well with me, man. You don't want to punch a friend in the face
Right.
unless it's like a homie fade. It's like, hey, you're kind of stepping out of line. Like, maybe we do need to step aside and let's throw some hands, and we'll catch a quick homie fade, and it's like, okay, let's settle our differences, and then we're friends again. But that's a whole other agreement in term versus like, oh, I'm gonna fight my friend for fun. Like, no, dude, it's you don't really fight your friends for fun,
Yeah.
you know. So I didn't feel comfortable with that, and I if I had to do it again, if I had to fight someone, unless it's like in the UFC, or where one of us could have like this opportunity to really fluoresce, it's like, okay, let's be on the same mutual term where this could really open doors for one of us, and I'm totally cool with like
Hmm.
doing that, where we're gonna be empowered, or a bigger stage ultimately is gonna give us a bigger impact, where one of us will fluoresce. If not, we'll be in the eyes of an audience where the other man could kind of fluoresce too. Then heck yeah, let's do it. This is a huge opportunity for us to really display our talents.
Yeah.
But if it's not like in a local setting and stuff, it's just not worth it. So I don't agree with that.
With where you sit in life right now, what do you want to accomplish? What's on the horizon for you?
I want to be a black belt ultimately. I really do want to be a black belt. I want to be a coach, but the ultimate goal is maybe a ref, but definitely judging. Like, the whole reason of fighting is so I could be a good judge or a good ref, to where it's not applied theory, it's actual. I want to have a judge that's been in fights. I want a judge that's a black belt. I want a judge that knows what they're talking about, not a boxing athletic commission that doesn't know or understand positions on the floor, doesn't do this or that. Like, how could you know what a fight is going through, or like the depth of a chess game, if you don't know how to play chess?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to be. I want to be a judge, and I want to give fighters the proper outcome they deserve, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum, where I've won a fight that I felt was kind of in the air, or I've lost a fight that I felt like I won. And I want to give every fighter a true perspective, or like a fair shot, because it takes time and resources to be a good fighter, to have a good camp, and it's just not fair, man. It's not fair when you have half your check taken from you from a fight you should have won, and you got mouths to feed at the house. You
Yeah.
have expenses like that. That's just not fair. You want to give someone like a fair judgment. So that's my ultimate goal.
How does that sit with you? That there's some judges who have been in no fights, a few fights. How does that sit with you?
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, how could you know what's going on? I get like points in little systems, but you don't know what it's like to get punched in the face. You don't know what it's like to be on the floor working your way up or working a triangle. Like, you could be winning from the bottom throwing elbows, but they could be like, oh, the other guy was on top, so he's winning. The other guy was inactive on top. Like, he was just holding position. Like, there's a lot of little depths and like little things that you don't see as like the outside player or the judge that the bottom player capitalized on. And that's why I want like judges to be more experienced and know what they're doing or talking about versus like, let's say ESPN, for example, or a commentator that just doesn't really understand the full aspect of like the fight game. But then they bring in like an analyst that has been fighting for a while. Like, okay, this guy understands what he's talking about. Like, it's a whole other perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your message be to amateur fighters? I know that you mentioned that's a something that's on top of mind for you these days.
Don't give up. Don't stop. Keep grinding. Listen to the older, more mature fighters in your gym. Get very well acquainted with everything, You have no kids, or you do. You have a lot of free time on your hands. Get very, very, very indulged or into the fight game, because there's a small window, so you got to capitalize on it. If this is really what you want to do as an amateur fighter coming up, spend all of your time on it. Just how someone could go to school and study and read books and take classes and stuff, think about it like that. I always think of school for fighting as a school. You have your AA, you have your BA, you have your MSA, you have your
CPA.
a CPA. But think of them like belts: blue belt or white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. Just think of them as like you're going through your own school, and you're learning and you're getting better at your skills, and eventually you could make money or a career out of like being in a discipline. So like, oh yeah, I got my bachelor's in fighting. I got my bachelor's in jiu-jitsu. I got my bachelor's here and there. Like, just don't think of it as like something dumb, or like fighting isn't a skill. Like, it's a skill. It's a skill that could, one, protect you and your family. Two, you could make a career out of it. And three, it's just healthy for you in general. So if you could make the most of your time, if you have no kids, or just like in general you're young and you want to go out to the bars, or do you want to get a good night's rest for sparring the next day, where people are going to be coming at you hard? You sparred hungover. It sucks, dude.
I
You
bet.
you you take one liver shot after drinking a bunch of drinks. It sucks, dude. It sucks. You smell like beer. Yeah, and I've been there before. Like, I've gotten my ass kicked like being hungover, and it's the worst feeling. Like, it just does not feel good. But the guys who do come in early, you come in those 30 minutes early to get a quick little warm up, to get your hands wrapped, to like do all the little extra preparations, to stretch. Like, when they come into that first round, they come in dialed in, ready to go. They don't take any rounds off. That's what separates the alphas in the room versus the other guys
The
that
coyotes from the wolves.
yeah, the coyotes from the wolves, where it's like the amateur guys are like, oh, I need to take a round off. Oh, I need to do this. But you look at the guys that are very professional and very on top of it, they don't take no rounds off. they hydrate, they got a good night's sleep prior. They're very dialed in and ready to go. Like they're not giving anyone shortcuts. Like if you go with me on sparring day, I'm gonna be throwing elbows at you. I'm gonna be pushing the pace. Like I'm not gonna hold back. Like I love you. You're my training partner, but this is our go time. So what do you want to do, or what do you want to? How do you want to carry yourself in the room? Also, like do you want to? If you throw a sheep in with wolves, it's gonna want to be a wolf. You know.
Yep.
Like you have to be mentally dialed in, and there's no excuse for these amateur fighters. If I have a wife and kids, a full-time job, I teach wrestling, I do all this stuff. Imagine if I didn't have any of these things and I could focus all this time just on training. Imagine what lethal weapon I'd be, or what an amateur would
Be
be.
a monster.
Yeah. And it's those younger guys who do all that stuff where they're just like, why is this guy so good? Look at all the classes he does. Look at all the preparation. That's why he's good. That's why he's going to be pro next year. That's why he's going to get a belt the following year. That's why he's in the UFC in 2 years versus the other guys that take years to be in the UFC, or whatever goal they have. So for all the amateur guys tuning in, like, lead by example.
Hmm.
Lead by example or follow by example. So
Get busy.
get busy, yeah.
It's funny because one thing I've noticed, and you're a prime example of this, it's almost easier to get busy people on the podcast than non-busy people, because the busy people are so used to having their entire 24 hours planned, right?
Yeah.
And so they know, this is when I'm going to sleep, this is when I'm going to train, this is when I'm going to be a dad, this is when I'm going to go on the podcast. Whereas the non-busy people almost seem like, they're doing just enough to get by. I'm going to get to work. Maybe I'll get to the gym. And then you throw a curveball in their schedule like a podcast. And even though they have the bandwidth for it, it's like, oh, it's so hard. I can't do it. But when you're busy, it's like, sure, I can make 2 hours to go on that podcast. No problem. Because we're so used to keeping a dozen commitments a day that making a 13th one, it's like, no problem.
Big. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I'll be there. I even told you, like, could I actually come in earlier? Because, I got to work and train later. Like, oh, yeah, I'll just come in earlier. No biggie.
Yeah. My only hesitation was I'm not a morning person. So I'm like, I'm just going to make Mo do all the talking. So,
yeah.
Mo, this has been so much fun. I have one final question for you, but before I ask it, is there anything else that you wanted to cover that we haven't touched on yet? And thank you, man, just for everything you brought to the table. As I mentioned to you, we have a young audience, and I feel like you are setting such a good example for how to do life, whether it's someone who's thinking about being an accountant, a fighter, anyone who is chasing after something in life, regardless of what it is. I feel like they can look at your story and take so many golden nuggets from it, of just how to be good at doing this thing we call life. So thank you for that. But before,
thank you, man.
You're welcome. What anything else you wanted to cover?
Just pray about it, man. Just if you could do something, get closer to God and just like pray about it, man. Like that's like God's been my biggest strength for everything I do, and without him I just I'd be nothing. So God keeps me strong, keeps my will, my faith, everything like strong, intact, like my family, my training, everything. And when I have a problem or I'm trying to get through something, I pray about it. There's nothing I can do in my power that'll really like, I'm only human. I can't do anything. But when I sit down and I wake up in the morning or at night when I'm going through some type of trouble or tribulation, I just pray. I pray. And then next thing you know, God takes care of me. So that's the biggest thing. Like just read your Bible, find a local church, find something that works for you, and that's like my biggest thing, and God bless to everyone.
Heck yeah. Final question. I actually don't know what it's going to be yet. Choose a card.
Ooh. I'm going to pick the one that's kind of slipped out.
And if you don't mind, give it a read out loud and let us know what your answer is.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to your if you could give one piece of advice to yourself at the start of your life, what would it have been?
I almost thought it was going to be one piece of advice to someone else. I was like, darn it, we just covered
Yeah.
that. But I like where this one went. What would your answer be?
Start training earlier.
Easy.
I would start training earlier if I was like, I guess that's up to my parents or up to me as far as like a discipline. If I could have been my son's age or my parents pushed me a little younger, I feel like it would have built me to be someone with a little more discipline, and it could have pushed me a lot farther. Maybe I could have done wrestling in high school. Maybe I could have done been a little like jujitsu, karate, black belt earlier, and moved my career earlier, and just started some type of discipline earlier. And that's not just for training, like let's say chess, let's say checkers, some type of discipline earlier that carries out with you your whole life. And if you could be good at one discipline, you could be good at multiple disciplines. So I think that would have been a cool little advice to myself.
Heck yeah. It's something you can tell your kids now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they're all training so young. And it reflects, it really shows like a difference in how they carry themselves at school and in the gym and in life. So it's really cool, and it really shows.
Have you met Austin Himes?
Oh yeah, that's
I think he
that's
isn't
like the
he
little
teaching
brother.
a class for like 4 to 6 year olds, I think.
Yeah, man. He was like a wee little size. That's a perfect example of like
Yeah.
his mom and pa, like super cool. Will and his mom, like always there for him, always supporting him, always like keeping him in the go. Like great examples of parents, and like of Austin like killing it at such a
Yeah.
young age. I'm super proud of him, and it sucks that his fight fell out too this
Oh
weekend.
man, come
Yeah.
on, guys.
But he puts a smile on, and he's on it, man. He stays busy, puts on. I've seen his career. I've been part of it. I've followed him, and yeah, he's a great example of like the future.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see his career thrive and flourish, and he's also in good hands.
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah. Well, Mo, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. To the audience, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I know you got a lot out of this episode. So my favor that I would ask of you as we wrap this thing up is, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts this morning or this afternoon, hit that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And if you guys do that very small favor for me, which costs none of your money and takes 3 seconds of your time, my commitment to you will be to keep finding guests like Mo to light an internal fire in your belly and to tell stories just like the one he told today. And that's my commitment. So do me that small favor. And in the meantime, I hope you guys stay healthy, stay happy, have a great Saturday, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.